Today's date is December 6, 2020, and yesterday around noon, my grandmother died. And if I'm going to be completely honest here, it didn't affect me that much. But I can see how it has affected my dad. And he's completely distraught, which leads me to talk about the fact that in this world, there are things that go down that really are just horrible. And people sometimes have to experience them. Like myself 5 years ago, when I quite literally watched a baby be murdered. And if you couldn't guess, that is something that would be very traumatic to an 11-year-old. As Gerald M. Streets, a psychiatrist, said in a paper he wrote, people usually, when they witness a murder, experience post-traumatic stress disorder. And if a child witnesses a murder, they are stuck with an immense amount of grief. And if you were to look at me now, would you say I seem to be suffering from PTSD or grief? No, and that's because I was able to move past it. It was with a lot of work, but I was able to do it. People need to see that they are being affected by a traumatic experience when it happens and learn how to grow from it. And I am sure you all want to hear about the story about a baby getting literally murdered. So, I will tell you that now. Basically, my mom and I were walking up from Walmart. We were walking back to the car, right? And we hear a woman screaming. And after listening just a little closer, you realize she's screaming at her baby to quiet down. And this woman, after a very, very small amount of inspection from seeing her, she is on so many drugs, right? She then screams at her child to shut the F up. And proceeded to take this child and literally just football spike it to the ground, instantly killing it. And fun fact, this happened just right about in front of little old me. So, I got front row seats to a murder of an infant. And yes, I got some blood on my shoes. See, the thing is, I am really into horror, but back then, I was not. The most violent thing I had seen would be Pokemon. That's not even a lie. And the thing is, there was baby splatter everywhere. There was so much baby splatter. So, as any other reasonable 11-year-old would do, I pulled out my flip phone and dialed 911. Just bloop, bloop, bloop. Hello, I just witnessed a murder. That's what I did. And from here on, it's just like the cops questioning me and seeing what I know, where at this moment I was freaked. But, and for like 2-3 weeks after this, I had the same reoccurring nightmare that was just the image of the child all over, just on the ground. Blood. There was brain on the ground. This woman was very strong. I do not know why this woman was so strong, but she was strong. But I ended up getting over it. Now, to get over it was no simple task. First off, I almost never told anyone about it because I thought that if I talked about it, I would never have to think about it. But that didn't help at all. What did help was actually talking about it with my mom and figuring out everything that I did not understand in the heat of the moment, and that my nightmares finally started to subdue after that. Personally, I would recommend going to a therapist. And according to dbsalience.org, therapy can help you cope with what you are going through. Now, I didn't go to a therapist for 2 reasons. First, I literally said to my mom, no, I will not go to therapy. I do not want to miss play practices. Because obviously, Peter Pan Jr., produced by Olympia Middle School, is just so much more important than my own mental well-being. And secondly, this is more important, I had overheard my mom, because I was a bit of an eavesdropper, not gonna lie. I had overheard my mom talking about how she doesn't think she would be able to pay for me to go to therapy. So, I didn't go. And from here, I would sometimes talk to my mom about it and just I don't know, rant things off to my mother. And I would just do things. That's why I'm in so many activities now. In middle school, I just did so many things to get over the fact that I witnessed a murder. And about 6 months to a year later, I was able to move past it. Now, before I get any further, I am not saying to completely forget about what happened and not to think about it at all, because you do almost have to take it into yourself and make it a part of yourself to get past it. But after I did get over it, I got really into slasher movies because, in comparison, it's not that bad. Old slasher movies like Friday the 13th, that is nothing compared to watching a baby get football spiked. Not gonna lie. I also, for a bit of time during this whole ordeal, was a pessimist. In all honesty, for this span of time, I would sit around and only see the bad in everyone. But I hit that, making my life worse, ruining the level of trust I have in people. But now I am more of an optimist. I may still have these trust issues, but I am still working towards moving past that as well. But this is just my story. And according to Susan Haas, another psychiatrist, if you do not get over your trauma, it will be like staring out a window, covered in grime. You can see everything, but just not clearly. She described it as being like Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh. You honestly think that you are normal. But this normal that you are is just so negative. And as I said just a little bit before, this is just my story. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't take to heart what I have said. You need to take whatever the world throws at you, no matter how big it is, and make it into the best lemonade the world has ever experienced. Grow from these experiences, and be a new person that doesn't have to live in fear of everything that could go wrong. Take it with you, and help others, and more importantly, help yourself to be a better person. Maybe not even be a better person, but a person that can see that not all in the world is bad, and grow from these things that happen to you. Now, I am going to talk just a tad on politics here as well. In current times, everything is kind of really sucky. From Corona all the way to everything that people have to go through, with sexism, racism, and the like. But that doesn't change the fact that there is good in the world, and that we can make the world better by growing with and bettering ourselves as a society. We can see what people are going through and help them and help everything around us. Thank you for listening.